Welcome to Bees, welcome to my channel. Today we're talking about Welcome to Mamas on Hallmark Channel. You gotta taste my sauce, it's great. The secret ingredient, it's a love. You know what's not an ingredient in my sauce? Shame, cause I got none. So today we're talking all about Welcome to Mamas. This movie has more flashbacks than you can shake a stick at. And we see very early on little Amy, who has this beautiful rapport with Mama and Papa of Mama's Ristorante. We also find out that Amy has grown up in this restaurant. She was part of basically the family that they built together of friends, which I thought was lovely. And then Mama gives her a job. So she's working there. She really helps Amy find her footing as she becomes an adult. And she's a mother figure, honestly, to her. I really enjoyed the relationship between Amy and Mama. We start out with Amy. She is an assistant manager at an Italian restaurant in New York City, and she's not very happy, especially once she gets passed over for the job, so she decides to quit. She's a little nervous about it, but then she gets a call and finds out that Mama has passed away and wants Amy to be there for the reading of her will. Well, she's going to the reading of the will when she bumps into Frank, who is, I'm sorry, but kind of an arrogant chef who has just gotten a terrible review for his updating of Mama's restaurant. Mama left him in charge of the menu, and he has done some very interesting things that no one seems to like. Business was bad, and now it's only gonna get worse. So Frank also gets the call that Mama's passed away and wants him at the reading of the will, and he bumps into Amy at a little cafe right before they end up going to read the will. And Frank does a wonderful job of being super weird. I love later on when she refers to him as weird chef guy, because he totally was. They realize they're both in Mama's will and that they have to share the restaurant and kind of work that whole thing out. So there's a lot of friction between them for a lot of the movie. They do spend some time bonding, mainly about Mama and what she did for both of them as they grew up and became mature adults. I was so upset at first when Lorraine Bracco was in the first scene, and then you find out she's passed away, and I thought, oh no, is that all the Lorraine Bracco we're gonna get? And then thankfully, no, we get a lot of flashbacks. And speaking of flashbacks, I really enjoyed all the flashbacks of Mama and Papa in their early days. That couple was darling. I loved it. I loved it. So Amy and Frank are basically trying to get Mama's Ristorante back to the way it was. And when I say back to the way it was, I mean successful. And they have different visions for what that means. Frank wants to do his menu, even though it just got really bad reviews. And Amy wants to change it back to the way it used to be. But as she goes through Mama's cookbook, she realizes that maybe going back to the way things were isn't what Mama wanted. Mama wanted to really move on and try new things, except for apparently rooftop seating. So there's that. Before Amy and Frank work things out, Frank decides that he is going to interview somewhere else as head chef because he doesn't want to deal with this anymore. And unfortunately, at one point, they're really starting to hit a groove. They're hitting a flow, and I think Frank's becoming happier and realizing that he is going to be appreciated and his vision is something that's going to be upheld by Amy. The guy that gave Frank an interview comes and he's like, what can we do to get you over there? So that really upset Amy. But yet again, Amy's the bigger person and tells Frank that she's happy for him, and she really genuinely means that. You can see that in her face. In the end, they decide to meet in the middle. They're going to work together. They're going to really listen to one another's ideas, and they're going to make Mama's better than ever by making it new, but also upholding the traditions of family and friends and love. And they have Dean Martin playing at the end when they're all around that big Italian yummy dinner table, and I thought, this could not be more perfect. I love a good Dean Martin in an Italian restaurant. I mean, that's perfect. And then they had the Drifters too. This magic moment, that song playing on the rooftop when Mama and Papa were there, and then again for Frank and Amy at the end when they dance and kiss, and I thought that was really dear, and I love how they tied that back in. So great music in this movie, and a nice satisfying ending. Since this was the last of the Loveuary movies, I have to ask, did it give us those Valentine vibes? No. Let's talk about the rom and the rom-com, the romance. I have to say, the romance element for me, do you know who stole the show? It was Mama and Papa. All those beautiful flashbacks to them meeting and falling in love, getting their dream of owning a restaurant on their wedding day. I loved when they cut from Frank and Amy looking at the cookbook, and they cut in the scene straight to the wedding day of Mama and Papa, and I just thought their romance, even though it was over, it was still omnipresent in this movie, and I really loved that. I thought that romance was by far the most compelling. Amy and Frank, to me, it didn't really do it for me in terms of romance. The reason that romance stands up at all of Frank and Amy is because it stands on the romance of Mama and Papa. So let's talk about the com and the rom-com. I have to say, I just about did a spit take. I was drinking some tea when I watched this movie, and when he asked if he could split her cannoli after she'd already been eating it, I was like, what? Don't do that. Also, this is, I don't know if this is realistic or not, but I thought it was a little bit odd that Frank didn't know that Mama had died until her lawyer called and said that he was going to be going to a reading of her will. I just thought since she had only stepped down from the restaurant a year before, you'd think he'd be a little bit more in the loop. And this movie was all about the strong connections made by friends who basically become your family. So I would have hoped that he would have been a little bit closer with her, but you know what, maybe that would have made for too dramatic a movie. Now to give this movie a rating. I struggled with what to do. Like I said, the romance for Frank and Amy didn't really do it for me. I didn't honestly care for Frank that much. He seemed like kind of stubborn, and I didn't love how he hid from Amy the fact that his menu got terrible reviews and that's the menu he was trying to push. And she apologized to him numerous times throughout the movie, and he I guess did, but she even at one point apologized for not apologizing, and she already had apologized. I'm like, what? This is crazy, but this was the first time I've seen one of these movies where I was actually pulling for a B character to come up and take the romantic lead. Sal. I really liked Sal a lot. He was Tracy's work husband in The Wedding Veil 3, so he was in the movie the week before too. So it's like, oh, there's a familiar face. Again, the parts that really saved it for me was Mama and Papa. Lorraine Bracco was tremendous. I really loved her. The themes of turning strangers into friends and turning friends into family, I really loved that. The scene where Mama says that she has to let Amy go, I got teary. I really did. I thought that was beautiful. In any case, I feel like I'm gonna give this one 2 hearts. So let's talk about the ranking. Did this movie even have a chance against the Wedding Veil trilogy? In my mind, no, it did not. I still have Wedding Veil 2 and 3 tied for first place because I'm a weenie and I am incapable of being decisive. I just love both of those movies, I'm sorry. So those are still first place. Second place, of course, is Wedding Veil #1. And in third place is Welcome to Mamas. Well, that's gonna do it for me. I am really looking forward to Feeling Butterflies, which is coming up in mid-March. That was kind of a surprise. And gosh, I haven't seen Kevin McGarry in a movie in about 2 minutes, so it's about time he started something else, right? I'm also really excited about The Presence of Love on March 13th, Hallmark Movies and Mysteries. This is gonna be a great weekend. You got Feeling Butterflies on March 12th. Presence of Love on March 13th. Yeah, Hallmark. I'm looking forward to that weekend a lot. I have some more content here in case you're interested. In any case, I hope you're doing well. And as my last Loveuary movie, I've gotta say, I hope that you get all that your heart desires.